to share a story about a great people, a great continent, and a great country, a country called Zimbabwe. This is a country of a beautiful people, a hardworking people, an industrious people. Yes, a hardworking people, a peace-loving people, but a smart people too. People who have had everything in terms of resources, everything in terms of competence and capacities, except leadership. And this is why I'm here. Yes, leading Zimbabwe into the future and leading Africa into the future. Clearly aware of the fact that yes, the diet is going up. The old is dying, but the new has not yet been born. But I represent that new. The new which is about to be ushered in the context of our 2018 election. Yes, in 3 months' time, we are going into an election. One of the most crucial elections of our lifetime. As crucial as the election in 1980 when we attained our independence. But this one is very crucial, not just because of time, not just because of circumstances, but because of the epoch that we are entering into. This is an election to move from the liberation promise to the transformation promise. This is an election to usher in the new, not the promised sterile new, but the real new in delivery. This is the election to see young people playing a role on the African continent. Yes, fulfilling that historical task. The things that we are going to make sure we fulfill and record for future generations. As you know, one of the celebrated scholars, Franz Fanon, had this to say, every generation must, out of relative security, discover its mission, betray it or fulfill it. Our choice is to make sure that we fulfill our historical mission. Our historical mission is transformation. Our historical mission and historical task, our revolutionary mandate, is to make sure that we transform Zimbabwe into a modern state. We transform Zimbabwe into a great country. We transform Zimbabwe into that nation to which people will be happy to associate with. Yes, our history has been a history which is checkered, a history of a pariah state, of a banana republic, under the heads of Mr. Mugabe, but we are shedding off and away that history. We are not yet in the new, but we're on the route to the new. I can tell you that a lot of you are aware that Mr. Mugabe exited the state last year in November, when there was a combination of forces to try and bring in a new dispensation. Like I said, according to Gramsci, Anthony, there has been the death of the old, but there hasn't been the new. It's proving to be difficult for the new to be born. And why is the new being a problem to be born? There are obstacles on the route to transformation. What are those obstacles? The obstacles are in the electoral minefield that we have in Zimbabwe. Elections in Zimbabwe have been contested since 1980. Elections in Zimbabwe have always bred a disputed outcome since 1980. Why? Because of state-sponsored violence. Why? Because of electoral skullduggery and machinations in terms of how elections are managed. Why? Because we have not been able to move from the big man to the big idea. Why? Because Africa has been dominated by strong men and not strong institutions. Why? Because Africa has suffered because we're focused on personalities and not focusing on ideas, policies, and programs that move Africa ahead. And those are the issues we hope to correct as we go into this election. 2018 is so crucial. For us in Zimbabwe, we've managed to introduce the new. We just do not represent the new in the freshness of the face. We also represent the new in the freshness of ideas, in the freshness of our narrative, in the freshness of the politics that we belong to and we represent. Yes, I must make mention, Mr. President, that we had President Tsvangirai, an icon, the face of the struggle in Zimbabwe, on the African continent, who passed on in February. I've had to come in. His boots are very big, but I've tried to fill them in. And I can tell you that the boots are quite heavy, but I'm carrying them, and I'm running, and I'm going to win. I can assure that we are giving a fighting chance to the people of Zimbabwe as we go into this election. Why are we saying so? We are saying so because we know that in any struggle, we must be able to stand up and be counted, and to define a narrative to which people have to come through. We did it before as a people. During the liberation struggle, we forgot about race, we forgot about class, We forgot about tribes. We forgot about all the other classes that may separate us. To look at the great idea of liberation. We achieved that liberation. But that liberation was checked halfway. Why? Because of exhausted nationalism. Why? Because we had those who came into power, failing to realize that occupying power is not for self-empowerment or self-entitlement. Title is not for the self, but for others. We have not done things for others, but for ourselves, which has been the biggest problem on the African continent. That when leaders assume positions of responsibility, they forget that the primary objective is service and sacrifice. And they begin to think about themselves, building a parasitic elite that is focusing on self-aggrandizement at the expense of the populace. That is what we need to cure. And this is where our mandate is. This is where our mission is, to make sure that the liberation agenda that has been checked halfway is fulfilled. I have a lot of respect of Robert Mugabe the Young, though I do not have any respect of Robert Mugabe the Old, because he betrayed the ideals of Robert Mugabe the Young, who was a liberation icon. The Old was a person who betrayed what he stood for when he was young. I suppose there's something wrong with age, but I don't think so. Age comes with wisdom, but with Mr. Mugabe it came along. And these are the things we want to make sure we are able to deal with, particularly for our leaders on the African continent. And this is why I'm saying, as a young man who is an advocate, who is an African, who is a Democrat, who is a believer in constitutionalism, who is a believer in the rule of law, who is a believer in vision, everything in Africa rises or falls with leadership. Once we get our leadership right, we get everything right. The shortage in Africa is not a shortage of resources, but a shortage of leadership, which is manifesting itself in a shortage of many other things. When you see disease in Africa, you're not seeing disease, you are seeing a death of leadership. That is the first thing we have to cure. How do we cure it? We cure it by making sure that we put Zimbabwe on the path to a free and fair election. How do we achieve a free and fair election? We have put certain benchmarks to achieve that free and fair election, so that we are able, when we go to an election, to allow Zimbabweans to define themselves, so that we go back to the ideal of the liberation struggle. One man, one woman, one vote. Let the people decide. Let the people choose their leaders. In Africa, our tragedy has been the tragedy of self-reproduction. People coming to tell us that they are new, when we know that they're sterile and finished, in terms of the narrative that they're giving. And that is where we want to take our country back to. And this is where we are going to correct, to say in terms of reforms, let us have reforms for free and fair elections. We have articulated a number of issues we have said we want to put in place, in terms of resources, in terms of reforms, in terms of benchmarks, so that the trajectory to a new election is an election that is beyond contestation. And we count on the international community to support the initiative for a free and fair election. This is why we count on the global prefects of democracy in Africa, in terms of the AU, SADC, in the world, in terms of the EU, the United Nations, and other big powers, including the United Kingdom. We count on you to put a case for governance, for free and fair elections, and for making sure that we have a democratic election in Zimbabwe come 3 months' time. What do we want to see? We want to see accountability in terms of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, which is supposed to be independent, but not entirely independent. We want to see the putting in place of the issue of the ballot paper and its auditing, because it has been a source of contestation in the past. We want to see the auditing of the biometric voter registration program that has been put in place. We want to also see international observation, international oversight, which is very important. Underseeing and underwriting of this election by the international community is very key. Those are the reforms we want to see put in place within the shortest space of time. Some may say there's no time because there's 3 months. It's not a question of time. It's a question of political will. And what we have seen is that there is no political will on the party of Mr. Mnangagwa, who is not a representation of the new, but a same perpetuation of the old. In fact, I must say, a lot of people were asking me, has there been any change in Zimbabwe? There's been change without change. What we have seen is just a transformation of movement of power from one person to another within the same system. We are seeing a replication and a perpetuation of the same Robert Mugabe politics. Politics of marginalization, corruption, politics of unemployment, politics of making sure that people are shut out of decision-making and very important leadership circles. So I must say, as we go into this election, we are just going there with all the difficulties we have, we've managed to claim the nation. We've managed to put the nation on a path to victory. I can tell you that the mood in the country is exciting. People are beginning to understand our new policies, our new politics, our new strategies, and they are connecting with our message. That connection is very important because it is the time for young people. Yes, our old generation did their bit in the liberation, but you can't be a hero of two struggles. The struggle for liberation had its own heroes, Mr. Mnangagwa and Mr. Mugabe included. But now the liberation agenda is gone. It is the struggle for transformation. And we are expecting ourselves as young people to be the heroes of the transformation agenda. Having said that, I have a vision. The vision I have is to see the new Zimbabwe promise, to see Zimbabwe as a successful country in the family of nations, to see Zimbabwe being a friend of the United Kingdom, and indeed the entire world. Having rejoined the Commonwealth, being one of the best countries, we have a beautiful people, a hardworking people, an intelligent people. We have a beautiful climate. If you come to Zimbabwe, you will never get any better arrangement. You will never come there, to the UK. You will just stay in Zimbabwe because Zimbabwe represents that best climate, that best thing on the earth in terms of the people who are so loving, so peace-loving. And this is why we're saying we need to give Zimbabweans a chance as we go forward. Having said that, I want to articulate my vision, the vision that I have for Africa, the vision that I have for the new Zimbabwe, once we start interacting. But I want to thank you for having me. I've given you my introductory remarks on what we stand for and where we are going. Thank you very much.